Welcome to the Asia Pacific Domain Name System forum hosted by MyNick and ICANN. This is the Asia Pacific DNS forum will be held in March next year. Now, for a theme for our forum is Beyond Technology and the Revolution of DNS. This inaugural APAC DNS forum, DNS forum in 2022, hosted by ICANN and MyNick, will feature a multitude of topics discussing the role of DNS from the multiple perspectives. The forum is envisioned to gather our regional DNS industry players, the wider community, to discuss the latest developments, opportunities, and challenges in the domain name space. It's also envisioned to be a platform for our regional DNS community to network, exchange ideas, and explore collaboration opportunities. In a way, it's also a lead-up event to the international community. It is slated to gather in Kuala Lumpur for ICANN 75 in September next year. This is the third of our 6-part series pre-event webinar, which is aimed to do a couple of things. The first one is to set level and introduce the basics so everyone can join the conversation during the actual event. And second is to seek the key topic which can discuss more in depth during the actual forum. So today's webinar is about search engine optimization, also known as SEO, and domain names. So thank you all for joining and taking time to join us today. So let's introduce our speaker for today. Now, with us today, we have Martin. Martin is from Exabyte. He is SEO guy in Exabyte for more than 6 years. He has been producing 70 weekly digital marketing videos for Exabyte across all the social media platforms. Although he has also a master in economics and is actually very found to do very passionate things on DNS marketing. He loves photography, filming, and enjoy hiking, and likes to do vlogging, like playing videos, things like violin, drum, guitar, and stuff like that. So welcome, Martin. Second, we have
everyone.
Hi. Second, we have Yuji Yokio from JPRS. Before joining JPRS, Yuji was an editor and reporter at the local newspaper, covering police and judicial day and night, which was a completely different field from what he's doing now, but he's a very well-versed person. Welcome, Yuji.
Thank you, David. Good afternoon, everyone.
Next we have, good morning. So next we have Dr. Ajay Data from UASG. Dr. Ajay Data is award-winning commercial founder and CEO of multiple technology. One of those technology that he has done is called Xgen Technology, which is the global recognition for bringing the world's first kind of linguistic email address, supporting native languages such as Hindi, Korea, Tamil, Chinese, Syriac, and some others. So his latest product is called Video Meet, appreciated by the government of India, and he's also chair for Universal Acceptance Steering Group. Right, welcome all.
Thank you very much. Good morning to everyone.
Yeah, okay, so let's begin. Just to recap that the last two webinars, the first webinar, we actually focused on covering what is DNS, why it's important. The global digital economy sits on the DNS, and who are the people who look after DNS. So the second webinar, we touches on the state of DNS industry, which covered the registry, the registrar, the subscription based on for small, medium, and medium-sized businesses and enterprise. Over here, we spoke about how the brand protection promotion strategy actually is critical for these businesses. So for today, we will discuss more about the search engine optimization, also known as SEO, and domain names. Now, SEO has played an important part in enhancing the business opportunity. It's also accelerated during this pandemic. How SEO relates to domain name, why the domain name matter for our business is actually where one of the important part whereby you want to speak about during today's webinar. Now, there was an article mentioned by SEO Worthy called SEO Journal in May 2021. The organic search primary source of web traffic is SEO build trust, credibility, best way to understand the voice of the customer, And also, just to mention a few, it's actually a way for people to start searching. Now, in the second webinar, we covered the importance of brand protection for business and also spoke about litigation options available. Over here, it's about brand, but SEO will dive more into it, how it actually plays a role here. So let's go into the SEO. So for this particular part, we would like to welcome Martin. So welcome, Martin.
Hi.
Okay, so in general, SEO stands for search engine optimization. It's an algorithm that tasked to find the largest number in a list, sorting items alphabetically, or determine the order of the website and on the search result page based on a series of criteria. Now, to help understand further, Martin will be the right person. So in this case, Martin, for the first one, in general, for the audience and the people that are actually watching now, may I know who is Exabyte and some background about Exabyte and this role?
Okay, let me share my screen now. So first of all, it's like really thank you, Mining and I can invite me as a speaker panelist to talk about this wonderful topic. So who is Exabyte? So Exabyte is the Southeast Asia largest SME cloud service provider. So we are profitable, sustainable business since 2001. So we are the largest market share in Malaysia, Singapore, and Indonesia market. So this is some of our further about Exabyte. So we are trusted by over 160,000 customers globally. So primarily we focus still on the Southeast Asian market. So we have 20 years of the web hosting experience. In fact, this year actually is our 20th anniversary. So we are not younger anymore. Okay, and then
Congratulations.
thank you. So this is some of our own data center around the world. So basically, we origin from Malaysia. So we have Malaysia data center, we have Singapore, US, and also Indonesia. And we will keep expanding as well. Then, so this is some of our regional office this is in Penang. Actually is our headquarters. Then I do miss my colleagues because I think since from last year, we already totally work from home. So I do miss the office lifestyle now. The happy thing is actually our office management allow us to back to office, but it's still in the shift, like the management shift method. Then, so this is all the comprehensive one-stop digital solution from Exabyte. So from the left, you can see actually everything start from domain. So I always use this example like domain. Our company sell the car plate to you. Okay, so you have the car, so you can buy the domain name. So we offer all kind of domain like gTLD, gTLD, and the new domain name. Then after that is this, like we call it the create process. So after you have the car plate, you need to have a car. So the car, for example, is like the metaphor is like the hosting. So you need the hosting to car and then to drive your car. So in the hosting services, our product is we offer all kind of holistic ones, so including email. We have WordPress hosting targeting on this CMS, with SSL, and also part of it is like because more and more customer demand, we also offer logo, website, e-commerce design. Then after that, we go into the third stage, or we call the growth stage. So when the business is growing, so we see more and more like in more demand. For example, they need more like virtual private server, VPS, or even dedicated server to expand the business. And then we also do offer marketing and all the business services as well. And then here is the last part, which is I am primary and on this stage for my services. So we offer the managed service. This including the enterprise level, corporate level, like the managed AWS and managed private cloud services. And then here is my main focus. So I'm doing the SEO, search engine optimization for internal and external client. So we do offer like the Facebook, Google ads and as well. So here is our total summary about Exabyte services.
Wow. Okay, that's very interesting, Martin. In fact, so congratulations on your 20 years anniversary as well.
Yeah.
All right, so let's dive in a bit on this. Could you actually give us an idea what exactly is SEO?
Okay, so this is very popular question, always asked by my friends, by everyone's like, what is SEO? So I will talk about how Google search works first. So this is the definition. I'll explain it in layman. The process of improving your website. So the first thing is SEO is all about website. You need to have a website. And the second thing is increase its visibility. When people search for, the third is keywords to business in the search engines. So to disclaimer here is the example from here onwards I will speak is I referring to the Google. I do aware international if like in Russia they have Yandex, in China they use Baidu, but from here onwards is my reference, my information is I'm speaking from Google side of view. So let me explain is SEO, the first component is you need to have a website. Okay, second is increased visibility. There are two types of visibility. It can be, let's say your website is new, so you want to increase visibility, is like you appear in search engine in Google. Or the second point of view is you already appear, you already index, or you already have some online presence in Google search engine, but you want to increase your ranking. So this is what is meant by the visibility. And then when people search for keywords is definitely is every day. I think this is become our norms already. We type the keywords to your business search engine. So in short term is SEO is the process to improving your website, increase the ranking in the search engine. And to further out, actually this is the more layman explanation I found from Google. Okay, there are three processes we call the crawling. The second is indexing and serving and ranking. Okay, let me explain in plain English. So the crawling is Google bot is like not the robot of the Google. So every day they will crawl billion, zillion, or whatever unit of website every day, every second. So they will visit the new and the old pages and add it to the Google index. Okay, the Google index you can like think like it's like a library. So every day they are non-stop one. So Google will always crawl and then just continue crawl non-stop around the world of the pages and then index to their library. So when they have the library, so imagine like you're a librarian, right? So librarian, you need to index, you need to process each pages to understand the content. So let's say we go to library, so we can we can ask the librarian, I want this context about how to cut my hair, how to cook a meal. Okay, so Google is like the second stage is they were indexing. They call it indexing. So it's like categorize all your content in the library in their Google index. And then the final stage, which is mostly is the key focus of today our topic, we call serving or ranking. So the definition is like provide the most relevant for the index based on many factors. So I guess these many factors is everyone want to learn and then want to share about this, like which factor or which algorithm is like, this is working or this is outdated. So this is the three process of how Google search works. Then before I end this actually definition, I want to differentiate between we call Google Ads and SEO, or another term is we call like the Google Organic in fall under SEO, and then the Google Ads. So some people think it's like, is it this one is considered like SEO? So the answer is not. Actually very easy. Every time when you search on Google, you can see this AD. Notice about that, this AD. So this as definition is advertising. So this AD actually fall on, you need to use Google Ads to appear on that. So this is, or in simple terms is Google Ads is you need to pay. And then the SEO is free. Technically it's not free, but it's when people click, you don't need to pay. Hope you all can understand about SEO.
Well, that is basically quite clear on how it differentiates between the SEO and the ads, and why it's important to have the SEO in this case. So now the other part behind is why exactly SEO is that important in this case?
Okay, this is a very good question as well. So why is SEO important is, so I will summarize is everything start with search. Okay, let's talk about our purchase behavior. Okay, the traditional purchase behavior is like, okay, imagine I want to buy a shampoo. So this is our first step, your stimulus, you have a demand. So the traditional is I want to shampoo, I can go to the retail shop, at my nearest in my home. So and then I'll buy from the shelf. So I buy from the retail store. Then after that, the experience. So when you use it, then you experience. Oh, is it nice? It will make my hair better, softer. So let me introduce some concept. Is like when we buy the first thing, we say the term is this term actually is from Google. They say first moment of truth, meaning you touch the shampoo the first time. So you're like, oh, okay, this is the real shampoo. And then after that, second moment of truth is when you use it. So this is become the second moment of truth. However, since like this is 10 years ago to 20, and then Google introduced this concept called zero moment of truth, or ZMIT. The simple explanation is like this. Nowadays, I think the modern days is we no longer need to like go to shelf or need to test in order to buy something, or even the intangible product like services as well. What we do now is we always, like for example, we read the review from Amazon, know the review, what the feedback. We read the blog post from influencer, from a publisher. So is this shampoo suitable for my hair, for sensitive hair? So we no longer like need to go out of the shelf, go out from our home, and then we buy something. What I want to share is the summary is the buying behavior for us now is totally changed. We always read feedback. We always refer to something. We buy products or even services. So to sum up is the zero moment of truth, the definition is the key keywords is the discovery and the awareness stage, the buying cycle, during the buying cycle. So to how to link to SEO, this means is, let's sum up this. 53% of shoppers say they always do research before they ensure they are making the best possible choices. Think about yourself. It's like we can't run away. We were always searching for something before we're buying anything. You can't run away. This is become our norms every day, especially during like last year, the pandemic, right? So we stuck at home or lockdown. Then since we cannot go out, so we need to do our research. Want to buy something, we need to buy from online. So this is why SEO is important. So if your website is not present in online, you already lost a huge opportunity because people always searching for something.
Right. Actually, that is actually quite encapsulating. I mean, we are so used to this way of doing things. Now whenever we want to find things, first thing we put a keywords statement there in our search bar, and obviously the things that happen in the background is a bit more complex. And the moment that comes out, you divide the information into what is graphic, what is images, and nowadays you have different type of category can also shown on Google when we actually do a search on that. So in this perspective, right, since we have all the search and we start with search, and how are SEO linked to domain names in the first place?
Okay. So the next topic is how is SEO linked to domain name is my personal, I think the simplest example is talk about geo targeting. So the geo targeting in simple term is like reference to a practice of targeting a website to a specific country. So think about your business. So for starter, let's say your business is still like growing, is still from start. Primary, maybe you think is your local market, like your local community. So maybe you're targeting, let's say I'm from Malaysia, so I'm targeting on my Malaysian market. But however, I see from many like my clients or my friends, when they're going big, they want to target international, then the big problem is occur. Why? Because they're dominating. Why? Okay. In general, so this is given by Google. It's like how to targeting your website. Meaning, in simple words, is how to tell Google your website is targeting which country. Okay, there are two primary ways. Okay, the first way is what we call this is CCTLD, country code top level domain name. So for example, Malaysia, you can use .my. .my is the extension. In Japan, they use the .jp, or in the Singapore, it's just the .sg. So this method is, I think it's very easy to understand. So for disclaimer, I know every country is different, the preference is different. But in general, Google will use your domain name as a signals to tell Google, the algorithm or the backend is telling your website is targeting on this country. Okay. The second way is more technical. Okay, you can use generic top level domain. for example, .com, .net, okay, .com, let's use .com. Then you can use the Google Search Console to manually target it. Let's say you target, I want to target this Exabyte or digital on the United States. So can use this setting. But in generally, I will say this country top level domain is the simplest way. Then the problem comes. There are many friends, like a company, like clients asking is like, my website already using let's say .com.sg, but I want to target like other country. So is it good, or I need to buy a new website, new domain name for the particular, let's say country, or I need what structure, what option do I have? Okay. So let me introduce another concept we call the international SEO. So this is the URL auction available in the market. You can do this. Okay, let me explain in a very plain English. For example, just now I mentioned it's a country-specific domain. .de is Germany. So let's say you can build your website using this country's domain, example.de. Or second way is subdomain with gTLD. So subdomain is everything you see from the beginning of the website with the dot. Okay, and then the third option is subdirectory, or we call subfolder, the slash one. So this example, I will say this example subdirectory is, I will use the example is like the apple.com. You can slash your company, so they're using this method. To summarize everything, actually is each three option, they have their pros and cons. Okay, there are no definitely answer what is the best option for SEO, because it's relevant to many factors. For example, let's say you can see this point, easy to set up. Okay, why easy to set up? It's like usually they're using the low maintenance, meaning you can host at your same host. Okay, same host. Another way is you can everything your website you can use in the same web hosting. So you have like one unified hosting to control all the website. But another way is the con. The pro and con is user might not recognize. Like single local. There are many. This is very big topic. But in general, is when you want to buy a domain name, and during the let's say the research process. So make sure you know about this concept, because many businesses they already buy using this gTLD domain, but I want to expand the business to the international. Then they can't use this anymore, because actually Google is labeling this website as let's say in this example is targeting Germany.
Right. Okay. So whatever you put down here typically say that if you relate the domains to a specific country, how the SEO work is actually garnered by using the geo targeting concept. So automatically, if you do a search from the country of origin, it will automatically produce the result of the country. And the subdomain concept is a bit different, whereby it sort of ease up the location where it came from. And obviously, each of these do have their pros and cons, but one of the distinctive part of the con side is there's much more expensive on the example.de, which is the gTLD, versus against the other one, which is the same hosting provider. It's actually a lot more cheaper in this case. But strangely enough, after you brought this up, right, I do have one question related to it. Now, if you're just a business owner or a person and he wanted to take advantage of the SEO, in this perspective, what do I really do, or how do you going to advise this person to move forward?
Okay. So another further explanation, I will talk about this local SEO, like regarding the domain name, the location or geo targeting. Okay, let's use this example. So the company I work is Exabyte now. For example, you can see here when I type the example, my brand name, you will see this little box here. Okay, and then you might think, okay, this box, is it Google automatically smart enough to appear this kind of or special information? Okay, the answer is no. Actually, you can do it. Okay, why I mentioned about this? Okay, the story behind all it is, think about last year, right? The pandemic happened around the world, so we are experiencing the same fate. The whole world is we experiencing lockdown. So we want to buy something. Why we want to buy something online now? We no longer can going out from our home, back to our normal living lifestyle. So we want to search something. So we always search from Google first. We want to find out, is it there? The hot question is, do you provide delivery? Do you provide delivery to this area? And then today have slot only, or today you available, your business still available or not? Okay, so this is very important. Like just now, the David already mentioned, is like Google will always using your IP address, meaning your location, to provide the best experience, the best example for you. So in this example, I use the forest. For example, this is happening to me. It's like my home, my electric, the fuse, something wrong. So particularly my home is totally blackout, no electricity as well. So what do I do? Actually, I really type electrician or something keywords like near me, or even you don't need to type near me, and then it will appear. It will based on my IP address. And then luckily it's like I have found electrician just opposite my house. So basically he just walked to my home and then fix the fuse, and then my home back to normal. So this is a very real example. Like I'm pretty sure like during the pandemic from last year till now, depends on country, it's like we really need these kind of services. And then just now I mentioned, David already mentioned the trust. Okay, when we find something in Google, this is even before the SEO, or we say the local SEO. If I find your company appear in, like, let's say this is Google Map or Google, let's say just call Google, you increase the trust. Okay, and then another reviews here is I mentioned here is the reviews here is like you can see here is people giving reviews, so you know this company or these services is valid, is authentic. And then this is the third point I want to find out is actually is a huge opportunity. Is like maybe you already have your website, but actually when you have a website, many businesses, especially the small and medium and the business, they miss out the huge opportunity to set up this Google My Business. Okay, so the Google My Business is totally free. Anyone can sign up, but you need to verify that many factors. You can refer to documentation, but after that, this is quite instantly. I would say like after you verify, the next minute you will appear. Let's say you type Exabyte Malaysia, you will see your company name in your local presence. So this is very easy tips and very easy, the local SEO for you.
Right. So in your explanation, what you have here is first one is you do require to recognize that the point how it actually behave in the local search scene, and then how it actually construct the information actually provided. And I believe the trust review opportunities is quite important. I mean, the near me thing is like quite intuitive, actually come from the SEO itself. Now, in this perspective, right, there are a lot of SMEs that prefer social media marketplace because it's relatively easy, and besides easy, it's actually free to start it off. From this general perception, can you share a couple of success examples of why is it important not just to rely on this platform alone?
Okay. So I sum up is like, okay, in other words, in simple words, is like what I think the host is want to try out is, if I can only rely on social media only and no need website, especially for e-commerce, right? I'm sure pretty many like success cases from your country. I know like there are many entrepreneurs, small entrepreneurs from Indonesia. They just sell the tudong or the hudut, and then using Instagram alone, no website. So everything is Instagram. They become very successful. Then they're not even using any website, totally not. Everything using Instagram, like their message, their logistic, like the conversation using website. However, remember about this, I was explain these 3 points. Remember about the last month, okay, the Facebook, or I will call the Meta, the outstage happened on 4th of October. Okay, luckily in Asia country is like most of us still sleeping, but in Westerner country is like the 6 to 8 hours is totally like the many businesses is totally affected. Why? They heavily focus all their business services rely on, let's say, Facebook, the primary, the Facebook and Instagram. So even they're using the WhatsApp as well, because it's fall under the Facebook or Meta as well. Like the client unable to contact them. So what I want to say is, don't put all your egg in one basket. Okay, So imagine this is like, let's say I rely on Facebook, Instagram to like business, I selling something. Even the client also unable to contact you. Okay, if you have a website, actually people can contact you the website, like using, they can refer to your phone, or even, I mean, the most logical way is they can live chat with you because you have website. Okay, disclaimer is the live chat, you're not using the Facebook messages. Okay, then another point I want to find out, this question is very simple. What do people feel if unable to find anything when searching your company name in Google? So everyone, I think everyone, you can like type your company name now in Google. Do your company name or anything related to company appear in Google search? So this is very big point, like benchmark for your company, regardless anyone. Let's say you're telling Exabyte. So let's say from the beginning, if you're following this sharing, I say I'm the largest Southeast Asia like cloud service provider. Then you will want to validate my statement, right? So you type Exabyte. So you check first. Oh, okay. I see you have the Google My Business. Remember about this? Hit the right side. And then I see, oh, your website is ranked on the first page. Now I will click. Oh, then I click, okay, this website is authentic. But if your website or you don't have any online presence in Google, then the user will think like, okay, maybe your business is not valid or is not established. To think about that. Okay. So another further explanation is what I mean about you only completely is just now David, the host, mentioned about like you rely on heavily on social media marketing. Same way you rely on like e-commerce marketplace. So in Southeast Asia, the largest marketing giant is like from Tokopedia. So now you can merge or Lazada or Shopee. So not to say is that they are bad for versus like the e-commerce versus SEO, but I want to remind what is the hidden cons about it is unpredictable transaction and hidden fee. So I'm not sure about the other country, but in Malaysia, in Southeast Asia, let's say the Shopee, Lazada, the largest marketplace giant, they already secretly increase the session fee and lot of hidden fee to the merchants. So the many merchants actually is like they slowly transit out, don't want to heavily depends on their online store. No, not depends on the marketplace, the e-commerce marketplace. So back to focus on online store. So this is very huge important point is no customer data. When everyone like buy from Amazon, I already talk about Amazon, right? Do you remember the merchant name, the brand name? So most of the time it's like where you buy from. Let's say where you buy this mouse from. I will say, oh, I buy from Amazon. I buy from Wish. But do you remember the brand? No, mostly no. So we only remember about the marketplace, the platform we buy, but we don't know about the brand. And then another second thing is the no customer data is like, this is totally, I know it's a big topic, it's the privacy issue. If you have your own website, let's say your e-commerce store, online store, e-commerce website, you can capture all the websites. So they'll give you many benefits. So for example, if you understand about the remarketing, you can do this. Okay. And then the second point is that the social media platform don't heavily rely on this. There are a lot of algorithm changes. I'm sure it's like, if you read about Facebook pages, it's like every organic post you post into Facebook, actually only 1% will reach your fans or followers. In other words, they force you to use the Facebook ads. Okay, except you have really huge popular like the big publisher or you really like influencer. And then this is another reminder for all of you, risk of ban or block account. What do I mean? We have many cases is like actually is sometimes is out of sudden your Facebook ads account or even your Facebook page account, it will get a red flag from Google, from Facebook. Then they will say you violate some policy. And then when you want to like appeal, you read the whole policy, you still can't find like what is the reason suddenly your Facebook page or your Facebook ad account get banned or blocked for whatever reasons. So if you heavily focus on like Facebook ads, you might read about this. There's always the risk here. And then the second I'll talk about the content marketing is the SEO and content marketing. What do I mean this? So in SEO is, let's say I explain it very simple is, let's say about the keywords. Let's say the high search volume keywords, meaning people using these keywords to search something. Then the content marketing, let's say I want the demand. So I want to read about which mouse give me the best services, the feature I want. So you can create like engaging content that rank highs. Or put it another way, the example is like every time we search something, why only we refer to the first page, the content? Because the content is good, they're engaging, they give many like insight, the information we want. Okay. And then this is the classic marketing funnel. So personally for me, I would think SEO can present in all marketing funnel, especially in the awareness stage. So this is the huge pie, or like we call low-hanging fruit. It's like I would say every website, you should have something, the content about this. So put in other words, it's like, let's say you provide photography services. But when I go to your website, I didn't know about anything about photography. You didn't mention about even the keywords. Then, or you took in the Google perspective, how do Google know is like you really provide photography services or any services? So another third point is for me is branding. So I will use this SEO as like the benchmark about your branding. So for all the viewer in Zoom and the YouTube, actually this is called Google Search Console. It's also a free. For me, is Google Search Console is like a tool. It's a free tool. It's like your health checking tools for your website. So if you, after you verify, actually they have one feature, you can like filter your, let's say the brand name, your Exabyte, then it will show the top queries, all the data. It's like, so you can use these tools to make a statement or make a benchmark is your branding or company is growing organically. So I hope these like 3 points can like demand why you need SEO than other platforms.
Yeah, certainly, Martin. I think what you have provided is quite enlightening, and the how it was being perceived, especially on the SEO from owning it, the branding wise, and how it searches, how it classifies. I think that makes a lot of sense why it's actually such an important part to have a local SEO. Now, so now let's pause here for a while for any questions from the audience. Now, you may raise your hand or type in your question inside the Q&A pod. For those joining on the YouTube, type it in the comments and we'll take it from there. Now, for now, we do have a question came from the audience itself. And this question comes from Shah Rahman, sorry. I'm from Bangladesh. Interested to know, does changing a DNS record affect SEO? Another thing I want to know, if I change the DNS provider, can it help my SEO?
Okay, this is very technical questions. Okay, and I checked actually your schedule. Is actually the next session you're talking about the domain name DNS best practices for the December, right? Okay, short answer is personally, okay, my opinion is I would say IP address is very important for SEO, more important than SEO. I will put the weightage of IP address more than the DNS, because DNS for me is like you can change. Let's say you use the Cloudflare, so basically it's like your website is appear around the world, but for me is the IP address more important than the DNS.
I see. So this is more towards the IP address more important than DNS, right?
Yeah.
So when you change the record, would that make any impact to it?
So far, I didn't focus about that, so I can't give the good example. I didn't really focus on the DNS side.
Okay, right.
Maybe the other speaker can explain this.
We'll take it up later on those. Now, should you have any other question, you can put up into the Q&A area as well. The another question that came out, I'm not sure whether you can take it just on that matter itself. How IDN work with SEO? I know this is a bit early on that, but do you think you want to give it a try?
I think I give it to other speakers.
All right. Okay. So
better speaker, like give it because they are the market leader.
Yeah. Pavanaja from ICANN. I think we'll answer this one later when we have the IDN comes out shortly. Okay. So thank you, Martin. Thank you for the insightful of your session, of your talk just now. So moving on, we would like to switch over to Yuji Yokyo from JPRS. Welcome, Yuji.
Yeah, thank you, David.
Yes. Okay. So let's start it off. Okay. Can you also share briefly about JPRS and some background about JPRS?
Okay, I'm sharing my slides.
Thank you.
Can you see it?
Yes.
All right, so let's start. JPRS stands for Japan Registry Services. It's the registry for Japan's gTLD.jp. It is an unlisted for-profit company and was established in 2000, based in Tokyo and Osaka. Currently, JPRS has about 110 employees, and sales of the last year were about $44 million. Continue to next slide. Okay. About what JPRS currently does. First, gTLD manager.jp. It's our main business. Now we administer about 1.66 million JP domain names. In addition to being the gTLD manager, JPRS is also an ICANN accredited gTLD registrar, sub-certification authority, etc., and contributes to the development of the domain name industry, internet users, and the internet as a whole, through its expertise and experience in various ways. Next, here is a graph showing the changes in sales and number of employees from the establishment of JPRS until 2020. The number of employees has more than doubled since its establishment, and sales have been steadily increasing. The graph of sales is written in Japanese yen, but for reference, the orange line shows the US dollar. Then here it is a graph showing the number of JP domain names managed by JPRS as the registry of .jp, and the number of the gTLD domain names managed by JPRS as a gTLD registrar. Thank you, that's it.
Well, thank you, Yuji. That was a quite brief introduction about your organization. At the same time, I would also like to invite Dr. Ajay Data from UASG. Hello, Dr. Ajay, how are you?
Very good morning. Fantastic. We are here.
Yeah. Okay. I know it's early in India, so everybody bright early. All right. So, well, I'd like to ask you a question. Can you share briefly about what you do as well as what's your role in UASG?
Yes. Let me share the screen first, please. 1 second. Thank you, David, Mynek, and ICANN for providing this opportunity to talk about a little bit of UASG. It's a very important topic. UASG stands for Universal Acceptance Steering Group. On your slide, you see the problem statement and the solution both. The problem statement is very simple about UA, that all the domain names and all the email addresses must be addressed equally in all the software applications, which might sound very simple for all of us. Is this a problem? But it is actually, and there are examples in front of you on your screen, the problems of the domain names and the email addresses. What Martin talked and what UH talked is also, I would encourage every speaker and audience to take these examples and test your own applications, and you will find surprisingly the problems. The problems are that new domain names, which has long top-level domain names, and these long top-level domain names could be of 63 characters, David, which means that instead of .com, which is 3 characters, COM, now you could have 63 characters. So imagine if your software application or the text box or the database do not hold that data of the domain name, then obviously the application is going to fail that validation. And same is with the email addresses, because the email addresses of all those domain names are also going to be invalidated. So this is the problem area. and how I will talk about it, how do we are solving it. And below, there are 5 pillars. If you see the accept, validate, process, store, and display. These are the 5 pillars of testing your application, whether you are universally accepted application ready or not. So for example, I go to APAC DNS website and try to register. Could I register with my Hindi email address? So first is, could I type in the text box? If I can type in, the accept passes, the first pillar passes. Could it validate it well? Will it validate as a valid email address? The chances are it doesn't. Most of the applications do not validate that if they do not pay attention to the UA readiness. So validate will fail. Then the process, obviously, then the next step doesn't happen, then the next step doesn't happen. Till you do not do all the 5 steps of all the domain names and email addresses, your software is not UA ready. This is the basic example. Why it is important? Important is the word is changing for all of you. The word is changing and adopting languages of their choice. And the languages are very important in our life. IDNs are taking place. And these IDNs are being adopted by users, and so as the email addresses. So once people have those domain names and email addresses, they would like to communicate with the government. You are creating new end users who are not there before. And as a business and a registrant, you will miss them. Hence, it is important for governments to be ready to communicate with the citizens, end users to adopt a new domain name and email addresses, and businesses and registrars and registries to adopt that they do not lose out the new customers who are coming with that email address and a new domain name. So if I want to come, for example, a Martin to Exabytes and want to host a IDN and want to run my website, want to run my email addresses, is this entire ecosystem ready for this? If it is not, then they are going to miss me as a customer. That's one example. If it is there, then you are getting ready for next billion people online. UASG works with the stakeholders. So how do we solve this problem? So how do we go? We go to the technology enablers and developers. So we will go to the Java of the world, the .NET of the world, the PHP, the Python of the world, who build platforms, build softwares which are solving the UA readiness in their applications. Because without that, softwares can't do. Most of the problems are solved, but there are many platforms which require attention. Developers, so software developers who build software, request them to build UA ready software, because they have to just be very careful about they're writing the codes which are invalidating the valid domain name. They need to be careful about. Email software and service providers. When I send an email to you, David, am I able to deliver an email? That's the thing. If the software is not ready, then end user can't do much. The software need to update, software need to provide that. Same is top level domain and registries, academia, government policymakers, all are very important. And I believe that this presentation is going to be available to the audience. So there's an action plan, there is a link below in the slide where people can see and visualize how we are targeting the entire world and the stakeholders in this action plan. The new action plan comes up every year. So to manage our work more beautifully, we have working groups. And this is my last slide about UASG. This is the working group. And with this forum, I would also encourage, if you are interested a little bit about this, you can join any working group by visiting a uasg.tech website. Let me take 30 seconds to explain these working groups. Measurement working group. Measurement working group is about measuring the gaps in tools. So like I use the word Python. So the working group will determine whether Python can allow developer to make a UA ready software or not. If there is a library required a change, measurement working group will come up with that plan that we require this change. Technology working group is also going to work on remediation efforts. So how to change it? What is required change? Who will change it? And issue a plan for this statement of work and hire a professional or a team of people or a company to build that library or modify that library and publish it to the open source community. EI working group, which works on email servers providers, email software providers. So Microsoft of the world, which is Office 365 or Google Apps or any other service provider who is going to be providing a service or providing a software. Both are under the target. Both need to be UA ready. communication working group builds communications and presentations. And the local initiatives, a very interesting thing which I want to tell at the end about UA is, we determined, when I became chair, we really determined that, and we are very clear that 3-4 people at the global level cannot solve the world problem. We require the local people. So I do not know really what will work best in Malaysia, for example. So if we need to solve a UA problem in Malaysia, we require people to take group together and form a local initiative, submit a proposal, what do you want to do? So the UASG group support the financially and technically to the group, and that becomes a local initiative in Malaysia, run by local people there, because they know best. They need to communicate when with government, when with academia, when with the technology provider. All those things come very handy. And the coordination working group, all the working groups, chairmen and vice chair, form a group with the leadership, and we discuss about the common issues worldwide, what's going on there. And for more information, please visit usg.tech website. It is for all of us to solve this problem and bring next billion people online. Thank you.
Yeah, Dr. Ajay, that basically very insightful. In fact, you're very passionate about the UASG. Basically, this group is a very interesting group for the rest of the audience. It's addressing the characters that's beyond the ASCII. So you can notice that the word that actually Dr. Ajay used to describe the domain name, relatively, they are in the native naming. So this is why, in such a way, the having something called the IDN is actually quite important in this case. So later we'll join to this connection to how it actually connects to the SEO. So now to carry forward to the next question, I would like to segue to UEG. UEG?
Okay.
Hi. Okay. So UEG, just for the question of SEO, are there any specific SEO strategy in Japan?
Yeah. At first, in terms of the SEO, I don't think there is anything unique to Japan.
Okay. Do you have so in this case, what are the so-called the strategy that so far Japan has adopted in doing some of your things here?
Okay. So I'm sharing my slides. Okay.
Yeah.
Again, I'm Yuichi from JPRS. From here, I would like to introduce SEO in Japan and some of our initiatives regarding SEO. At first, yeah, as I'm saying, in terms of SEO, I don't think there is anything unique to Japan. And here is the search engine market share in Japan. Google and Yahoo, which uses Google's search technology, have a 95% share of the search engine market in Japan. So aiming to rank high in Google's search results is the most important way to improve your online presence in Japan. Unfortunately, there's no such things as just do this and everything will work. So I think it is important to repeat trial and error while looking at the information that search engine provider publishes regarding SEO. In particular, it is also important to check what keywords and combinations of keywords have high search volume for the content you'd like to rank high, and use that information in web contents. And you can check that using Google Search Console and other tools. And next slide, key points. The most important things about SEO, as Google says, is the content of the web page itself. I don't think this changes that much by country or region. It is important to understand what kind of web content people are searching for and reflect this in the content. For example, in the case of domain name industry, it is natural to assume that people who search a web page by the keyword, domain name and registration, want to know more about registrars or how to register a domain name. than about what is domain name or what organizations manage domain names. So creating content that meets the expectation of search engine users is the best way to increase your page rank. However, it is of course not true that the domain name has no effect on SEO. In terms of a relationship between SEO and domain names, Google has stated that the meaning of gTLDs is irrelevant to SEO, but on the other hand, Google says targeting a specific country will increase your ranking in that country. And I think the easiest way to achieve this is to choose a domain name with gTLD. With gTLD, it is easy to tell search engine that you are targeting that country. However, of course, with gTLDs, if the site developer sets up a subdomain or subdirectory, it is possible to tell search engine that the site is targeting that country. Here are examples, example.jp and example.com/jp and jp.example.net. These are easily recognized as from Japan or for Japan or for Japan. Then from here, I'd like to share of our initiatives with you. As a registry for .jp, we would like to have a strong presence in the search result for words related to domain names and DNS. So when a new term related to domain name and DNS appears, we think it is important to create and publish a page quickly, even if the content is simple and small. Because by getting the contents out to the world as soon as possible, the web page will attract access, and the increase in the number of accesses will have a positive impact on entire site of that domain name. Continue next slide. For example, JPRS has released 8 terminology introduction pages in 1 year from July 2020. And 5 of those words ranked the first in each single word search result. But as for words with a lot of such hits, it's quite difficult to increase their rank. And next. The second initiative is to use of domain names that have a proven. When we started our server certificate service, issuance services, we published the web content word is server certificate using a new Japanese domain name, IDN, but we did not get good SEO results for the keyword server certificate. So we moved the main contents of server certification service to under jprs.jp we used because we were concerned that a separate domain would make it difficult for internet users to understand that the server certificate service is provided by JPRS. And as a result, it is now displayed in the top highlighted snippet in the search results for the keyword server certificate. I could guess that the number of accesses increased and the rank of the page rose. And I don't know exactly what brought about these good results, but I feel that it is necessary to accumulate knowledges in those led to these good results by trying various things. And the last one is about our grocery page. On the grocery page of the JPRS website, many terms are written in both Japanese and English. This is because we think DNS engineers are more used to seeing a domain name and DNS-related terms in English than in Japanese. As if this initiative has captured the site search demand, the JPRS grocery page is also the top search result for domain name.
Well,
finally, finally, I think search engine specifications can change at all times, so it is important for us to keep up with them. That's all. Thank you.
Yuji, in fact, that's quite interesting the way you put it. Okay, how you actually position the search, and even Japan itself, which also relate to what Martin has mentioned earlier on about the using the geolocation as well as the subdomains that has to make a difference there. But in fact, it was quite interesting that your primary content that are mainly for the domain is actually in English, but you also have in Japanese, which also unique, but you focus more on to the ASCII character range, not mistaken, right?
Yep.
Okay, right. That's actually pretty good. Now I would like to move on and segue to Ajay, and welcome Ajay.
Thank you.
Now, this particular area, perhaps something uniquely that we also like to know more about it is, so how can you share a bit of how search engine work in India or in the region where they uses something different from what you have heard so far?
Okay, let me paint the picture a bit, try to at least by sharing few slides and give you a perspective here. How do we think about the IDNs and SEO in India? So basically, SEO is, as my colleagues, other panelists have said, I will not repeat those things. Quite common things are there, but it requires a very different thinking in each country. So let's say what UHG said, that they have a 95% market share of Google and Yahoo. That is completely, that strategy works in Japan will not work in China, where it is less than 2% market share of Google, or let us say less than 50% in Russia, but will work in India, which is almost 90%. So everybody needs to be really focused on each search engine, what they are looking for, not just the companies, Google and Microsoft, Bing, and this, which search engine on those browsers we use is also limited. We also realize the similar situation about geo limitations. And let me put it a little different way. When I register a website, I have two options to register a website. Register a website with ccTLD, or register a website with a global generic top level domain name like .com. So if I have david.mynick or david.com, they are two different impacts, and there is a different strategy altogether for both the domain names. The domain names are not same for search engines. They have a different impact. If you register a domain name for your country specific ccTLD or a global generic ccTLD or TTLD, they are two different things, and it is similar impact on even IDNs. And IDNs, it brings a little bit more complication. We will talk later about it probably. From the perspective of content, India has less than 3% text other than the English. And we have 22 languages, David, in India, which are official, not one. So India has a very unique problem to solve, because we are not talking about one problem here. We are talking about 22 languages officially recognized by Government of India, and also 22 IDNs, not one IDN. 22 IDNs are here. So we are talking about many things here. IDNs are important, and what IDN is, as you also spoke a little bit, internationalized domain name, a domain name with a known Latin characters and the languages and scripts of your choice. IDNs are formed using the characters from different scripts like Arabic, Chinese, Cyrillic, Devanagari, and they are encoded by Unicode characters, Unicode standards, and allowed by relevant IDN protocols. And those who do not know can read more about on internet about IDN. The difference between an ASCII domain name and a language-based domain name is that they are encoded under a Unicode, which is an ASCII form of it, and then the IDN got formed. So we will not get there. It's a more focused on SEO right now. And here is an example also I have mentioned here. It's an example of website working live right now, data.bharat. It's a Hindi word, and it's a website which works right now. So you can imagine then how Google is going to differentiate this in SEOs and IDNs. For those who are new from the terms, there is a domain name and it's divided by a dot. So right side of the dot is known as top level domain name. Second level domain name is known as, which is the left side of the dot. But it is true even for IDN. This is not different. So I have given an example on ican.org in Latin character and data.bharat in Devanagari script. It is exactly same. And before we move another questions, I would like to paint a picture how internet looks like today. And it's important for SEO because as Martin and Yuichi said, the website making is one part, making it available to the search is another part. And that's where it is important to understand out of 56 billion pages, your page should show up. It's a huge task to do for whether it is an IDN and a normal domain name. And if you are an IDN, 60% almost the websites are in English. So you are fighting that battle that your higher the IDN website is going to show up. And it is very important to understand these numbers and work your strategy around and solve that problem of SEO. I hope, David, it helps.
Yeah, definitely help. In fact, it's regional that's a bit different how you do it in India and how we actually hear it from Japan. Two different perspectives towards the to the IDN and where the searches actually comes in. But in this case, okay, how do IDN feature in SEO in this case?
Yes, they do. Yes, they do. Definitely, yes, they do. Could I share a few more slides, David?
Yes, you may.
1 second. So what happens is, from the perspective of IDNs, so let me speak only here. What happens in IDNs here is, IDNs are about language-based domain names, as we all understand. And when we type a domain name in my search bar, browser has to determine whether I am looking for that context or I am looking for that domain name. That's the first part which has to be resolved. And the language and another thing. So if I am in India, like Martin said, IP plays a very important role, and I am typing a Japanese domain name in a search bar. Is the browser looking for that as a text in a search bar from the SEO perspective or the domain name perspective? That is where the complications starts. And I can very clearly say the situation has improved in Google, but not at where you would like to be in ASCII. So in 2 years before, when we started using IDN ourselves, when we used to type our domain name in a browser bar, it will always consider as the text, not the domain name, and will search like this, not as a domain name search, not resolve it, not link it. And these problems becomes a very important issue. Martin and Yuichi also talk about the credibility, the authenticity of the domain name. And this brings with the search and the backlinkings and all those technologies which are important. For IDN, this becomes an issue. So let me give you an example before we move to the next question. A news website will mention, let us say, Mynick domain name, an English website. How they will mention an IDN in their English website? And how do they link it to? So in an IDN will probably never get linked in any English website today, because they do not have that facility to type in the IDNs in their own content. And that is where you will always miss an IDN mentioning in your news. And whether as an ASCII domain name will always get mentioned in the news very easily, and you can get a backlink there. These kind of things will come. I hope that we are going to discuss about the challenges, so I will discuss in my presentation there.
Right. Okay. So now is the part whereby very interesting is in this case, right? If you were to say using the idea, and why is it important in a way for the search engine to factor in the IDN. I mean, we understand that there's some differences how it's actually represented and how it backlink, but in this case, why is it important for it to be inside the IDN then?
So, David, let me share both the things very quickly. One is about the challenge, and second is about why it is important. Both the things in one go. Well, just 1 second.
Yep.
So, SEO. So the domain names, as I shared, I am coming from the background of a universal acceptance. And when I say universal acceptance, all domain names and all email addresses must be treated equally. So I'm going to talk about specifically about the challenges which IDN brings in as vis-a-vis in non-ASCII or ASCII domain name. And when you talk about the content and the local content available and the regional content available in comparison to English, obviously English character becomes more globally recognized, and all the applications, millions and zillions of applications available in search engine are able to deal with that content right now. Are we ready with the entire world with all the applications and IDN? Answer is probably no, because that is where the challenges comes in. And very, very small examples can give you more visualization. So if I type in my IDN in my email client, it should create an automatic hyperlink. Will it create that one, or will you take it as a text? All those things are becoming in similar issues in SEO. People tend to understand the visualized local search, and IDN obviously make it very easy for user to recognize phishing because they understand their local content well. So for example, and as if somebody do not understand English well, it will be very difficult for him to understand it's an Cyrillic A or an ASCII A. Cyrillic A and ASCII A will completely look same, exactly same. They will not be different. So, and or OO or 00 in Google. So this could create a phishing. In IDNs, this could solve a problem much more easier. Another thing which also brings is, as I shared, no domain history. IDNs are coming new. So they do not have the credibility built in the past. No, not even for TLD. So this brings an effort from the people like Martin to make a more larger effort who work on SEO to build that credibility worldwide and get recognized on not only for top level domain name, for your own domain name. And the benefit and the result is, if you do not get david.com today, David, you will not get david.com, but definitely you can get a david.bharat or david. In your language in some country in somewhere, and you can have your own domain name. But this is the facility. But at the same time, this brings a challenge. Challenge is that it is not a popular top level domain name, not recognized one. Lots of places the domain name will not be recognized. Lots of places you will be having a trouble. So we need to work on this SEO authority of that top level domain name and CCTLDs. And what I say is here, we need to all work together to see that these challenges are understood well, and all the technologies which my friends Martin and Yuichi has talked, we need to take care of them. They are experts of it. How, what are the technologies relevant for general SEO are definitely relevant for IDNs, along with some challenges need to be solved. And your last question, Martin, about why it is important for search engine to factor in. And this is where we need to worry about. Are you able to see my full screen? I can't see. It's a little glubbered here on my Zoom.
I can see the text, but not the other things inside.
Yeah, let me share it again. It is not coming up. 1 second. So the key here is, just give me a second. Are you able to see it now?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So why it is important? 50+ countries, David, are already using IDN gTLD. In India, China, Russia are one of them, which means the large countries are building new population who are going to use IDNs and email addresses in a script. And I saw in a presentation of Martin that global companies. So if you are a global company and you are serving word over and people are coming in with a Hindi email address, these companies need to become ready to become available in local searches and also become available from UI readiness perspective to swap the email addresses of their choice, which will show up in SEOs. 94% of the world population do not use English as a first language. It's a critical thing to understand. That's the reason this is important to use IDNs and be ready with their applications, and SEO technologies need to be understood well. 75% world population does not speak English at all. Imagine China, Russia, and all those countries who just speak their native language. If we are going to cover the word, this is extremely critical, important. And these are countries who are adopting IDNs much faster, not the US and UK part of the world. And 5.6 billion searches per day on Google. So you cannot miss out of the search if you have an IDN and if you have that domain name in your business, which is not searchable, you will be obviously left out. Hence, it is important to factor in IDNs in your strategy, in your plan, so that you do not miss out with the people reaching out to you. I hope it helps, David.
Yeah, that's definitely help. In fact, the importance of IDN in this case, right? Especially when the options and the languages we use nowadays, beside the English language, I think these are the things that actually adds a lot of what they call that complexity, also challenges in how we actually perform the searches. I mean, this is a very good info that actually coming from you, Dr. Ajay. Right. Okay. So let's just pause here for a while. Let's bring in Luigi back into the scene, and let's see the questions that can actually we want to answer. So for the general audience, again, you can raise your hand or type in the Q&A pod. For those of you who join us on YouTube, you can type in the comments, and we'll actually take it from there and raise this question, and we'll we'll do it live. Now, we do have an earlier question by in the chat itself that was actually by Pavanaja from ICANN. So perhaps this question I can direct it to Dr. Ajay. So the question here is how IDN work with SEO.
Yeah, Pavanaja is also a vice chair of UASG, and he is a technical person in India, very senior person. Pavanaja, SEO is common in IDN SEO and non-IDN is same, where the challenges which I shared have to be also dealt with separately. So, and specific to the region which we are trying to address. So for example, if you are looking for an IDN in India, and most probably you are not looking that IDN to be available in China, for example, that probably will not make sense. Or for example, in Russia, you would require this to be available in India and make available searches and your website backlinking, the credibility of authenticity, and all those things need to be taken care. Google is fairly doing well right now on IDN made available. If you do a Google search in Hindi for that domain name, if it has a text, it will show up for you. It is not exactly as good as ASCII domain is, but it is quite near, and it is probably improving every year. Hope it helps.
Okay, so Ajay, yeah, that's actually, thank you for answering the question. Should you guys have any other question, to put it up into the Q&A pod and as well as the chat. And so the YouTube again come from the comment. You can actually put it there. We take it from there. So now let's bring back everybody to the room, and let's welcome Martin back here. Martin.
Hi.
Hi. Okay, I know it's has a long day today for some of you who started off early. Okay, right. Okay, so now I'd like to hear from you. Okay, since you have a quite interesting talk and insight into the SEO, the SEO will not, well, eventually will not go away as long as you use search. And domain name is actually one of the key elements of how it actually identifies searches in both ASCII as well as the IDN base. Now, this is an opinion. Okay, what do you think will be the SEO roadmap going to be in the next 5 years? I mean, let's start with Martin. Okay, what's your what's your take on this?
Okay, personally, I will think the next phase of Google is just my own opinions. Is about content. So if you search on using your mobile, you will notice like Google tend to more and more, they give you more information like in more informational ways. For example, graphic, we call in SEO world, we call like the rank 0, or the terms we call is featured snippet. Now, in the previous way, when you search something, right, you will tend to our behavior is you want to click into the website. But now Google is like they tend to, let's say I want to search how to cut my hair. Then when you search on Google, especially in mobile view, they already give you some like snippet, like some preview, the photo, or even the video. So I would say this is the way is like what it put another way is like focus on your content. So you must give your focus, you must give more the content, the knowledgeable. For example, you sell something about your business or product and services, build more information from brand tutorial, like simple tutorial in your content.
So what you try to say is video, graphics, and sort of thing will be the key element to support the searches.
Yeah, there's the one trend is like people are talking in the SEO world, they're talking about like, is it Google want to like kill all the pages? Because like Google, the more we search in the mobile, right, we directly view the message. For example, when you search SEO, right, actually Google already preview the text, the definition. You not even need to like click into the website. So in order to rank that, we call the feature snippet, like the rank 0 above the Google Organic, your website need to be good. Yeah.
I see. Okay, sounds like there's some sort of intelligence built into Google nowadays to use this sort of thing. Right, thanks, Martin. So let's segue to Eugene. What do you think so SEO roadmap going to be in the next 5 years from your point of view?
Yeah, next 5 years. Okay, but I think the challenge for the next 5 years is to create more contents. Those are sought after. I think it's a matter of reconsidering what we want to convey in our website with the people need, with what people needs in our website.
Okay, so it's more website and content, and Martin was talking about the more mobile, and also I think also related to content as well. So content is the key, I think, the whole thing here. So, okay, let's segue to Dr. Ajay. I think this is a little bit more interesting from your perspective. I somehow gather from the presentation I made. So what's your take on it on the next 5 years for the roadmap for SEO?
Yeah, thank you, David, for this question. This is all about vision. And we all will agree that the technology is changing the entire global landscape very, very fast, unimaginable speed. And the way these SEOs, what we are talking about, we were not talking about this 15 years before. We are talking about it today. And I think in few years from now, the SEO will change to very drastic change because of the artificial intelligence coming into picture, the metaverse coming into play, virtual reality, augmented reality coming into play, and mobile becoming a more important device for all of us. And when the mobile becomes a more important device, then apps become a more important device. So you will not be you will be surprised to know that most of the searches of products will shift from Google to Amazon. For movies, it will shift from Google to Netflix and HBOs and of that word. From that perspective, we need to be also careful about the techniques what we use on the products are also going to be very important. The platforms which are going to use. If we are going to looking for news, you may not search Google. You are going to search probably on Twitter on a news aggregator website. So artificial intelligence, which is voice-based search, video-based content, are now new technologies coming into play, and these all new technologies are going to make an impact. Which direction we have to see, but they are going to make a huge impact. They are not going to remain as what is today.
Okay, but you also spoke quite a lot of ideas. Would you think that is something will be happening on the roadmap itself?
Yeah, for sure. So I think we are moving in a new internet, if I can say. So when the internet started, David, it was nobody thought internet was going to be so big, and it's in English. 1985, which is long back, we started seeing the top level domain name taking first time. Its first domain name started taking shape in 1985, and now we are talking about a domain name in a language of its choice. So we are talking about an internet 4.0, if I may say. Internet 1.0 was about network connectivity. Internet 2.0 was about websites, hyperlinking and everything. Internet 3.0 is about social media, video, audio, all those things are coming into play. Internet 4.0 is all about languages. Internet 4.0 is future. So 1 billion people online who are not able to access internet the way they would like to, the way we all can access, they would require the more powerful applications, more powerful content available to them. And that's how the next billion people will come online and use internet as beautifully as we all can.
Yeah, I think that's actually pretty good. I think the next 5 years will be very, very interesting how the SEO will actually move forward. I think focus on content, focus on the mobile, and focus on the IDN and the way it actually resonates with AI. I think actually something that we can probably look forward to. Multiverse, I think a lot of news been going out of late. Right. Okay, I'm going to move to the next question in the essence of time. Okay, so we're going to have our APAC DNS next year. What is something you hope to discuss or to achieve, you think they will achieve on the coming APAC DNS forum for 2022? I think we'll start with Martin.
So actually I'm the tech guy, so I work in SEO. So I hope like maybe you can share more like tools, like what's the app, like demo a little bit, so like can give more knowledgeable, like, oh, how is this working regardless of any field, like more demo about what tools or free tools, or like especially for the beginner, like more understand about the domain, the IDN and all the stuff.
That is something what you're looking forward towards the APAC DNS forum. Oh, what about yourself, Yuiji?
I think it's very valuable to have this opportunity to listen to speakers from other countries. Since the trend in SEO are constantly changing, so I felt the need to have this kind of information sharing event on a regular basis to discuss specific initiatives in each country and region. Mm-hmm. And again, thank you very much.
I think that's something, in fact, will be very interesting to take it forward and see how we can make it more like a regular event. I think that helps the community. I guess that's what's happening, and doesn't really help when you have a pandemic running around. Okay, what about you, Dr. Ajay? What's your take?
Yeah, I think congratulations for this initiative, David. This is fantastic, and we, as Yuichi said, we need not to end this just by one event in a year. We need a continuous dialogue, continuous share of information, continuous sharing of ideas around what works, what doesn't work, and probably collaborate to bring in. Ultimately, we all need to see that the internet is intact, internet doesn't break, internet is available for everyone, and in the same fashion, the way it is available to us. And we all are going to adopt new technologies. We like it or not. We have to adopt the new technologies, and we are going to be facing the new challenges with the new technologies to adopt them faster enough than they come up in our life. The time which has happened, I firmly believe the things which has happened in the past in that 10 years are going to happen next 3 years, and it's going to squeeze in next 1 year. So we have to see that we are getting ready from the information system, collaboration, working, sharing dialogue. All those things are very important. APAC DNS forum is a very important step in this area.
Okay, thank you for your hope. Next year, we're going to have some of the participation coming from you guys, and we'll talk about that one later. So, so that's all we have for now. Before you go, if any other question from the audience, we've wrapped up. If you do post it into the Q&A, and we'll also take it up from there even after this. So just to sum up things, okay. We'd like to thank you, everybody, and for actually coming here. At the same time, those who participate online, I would like you to take some time to click on the link that we share in the chat box to fill up the survey. And just want to get the feedback from you, what you like, what you don't like, and just give us a way to improve. So if you're watching on YouTube, you can also take our survey by visiting our website. That's apac.dnsforum.my. Make sure that you register and receive the newsletter as well. We do sign up after this event. So, our next topic that coming up for the next month is called Domain Name System DNS Best Practices. So, with that, I would like to thank you all for participating, and see you then.
Thank you very much, David. Thank you, everyone.
Good night.